Hey, you guys. Happy Sunday to you guys. Welcome to another episode or audio recording of the Knucklehead Chronicles podcast. Me, along with my cohorts, E. Digger, the CEO of Charm City Direct TV, and Kev the Great, the resident Atlanta Braves fan and Eagles fan. So sorry for your week this week. We love you, though. We love you. I want you to know that. You see,
I,
so if you are in here, man,
don't.
so if you guys are sports fans, you guys know that today the Eagles played the Ravens, and so you see what's going on here. If you
I,
okay,
I
first
changed
of
my
all, it
hat.
wasn't
I changed my hat. Y'all saw I was
first
gonna
of,
rock the Eagles.
he, cha-
Then
he he changed it quickly.
yeah. So first of all, it wasn't a smack. E, stop that. They only won by two.
Smack. Hey, I can't argue. We gave
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
It was close.
That's funny. That's really funny.
they was smacking us
Hey,
at
Peggy.
Yeah.
first.
Hey, first
Ugh.
time, but I have shared. Thank you for sharing, Peggy. I really appreciate you. You must be on Charm City. Thank you so much for doing that. So you guys, we're gonna get it started like we always do. This is, like I said, this is the audio recording of the Knucklehead Chronicles podcast, right here on Charm City Direct TV. So we do a couple things here. First thing I'm gonna say and do is ask my fellas, how has your week been so far, man? I mean, outside of the sports stuff, how's your week been? E, whoever.
Oh, my weekend is always good. They had a little. I'll get into that. To take several seats. But my weekend was good. My weekend, I can't complain. Being around family, getting rest, and preparing for all the shows and doing what I do up here in the studio. So my weekend was good.
Did you ever get some air up there in that studio? I know. I remember.
And
No, at least it's not as hot. It's not
No.
as hot anymore up there.
that's the thing. Somebody was like, "Well, you up there
What's up,
often?"
Beth?
And I'm like, "Yeah, because it's
Hey,
kind of
honey,
cooling down."
good, good. Kev, how was your week, man? Outside of the sports stuff, how was your week?
I noticed how you keep saying outside of the sports stuff.
Yeah, because you
Uh,
emotional, bro. I gotta.
it's rough for my Eagles, rough for the Braves right now. Hopefully they win today. But
Oh, it's
other
not
than
over.
that, it was. Oh, it's not. Today's game 7.
Oh, I thought it was already over. Oh, I'm thinking about the Astros and the Dodgers. Never mind. Go ahead.
Oh no, but it was actually it dragged out this whole week with work and man other than that, yesterday it capped off with my goddaughter and her mom and her brother coming down to visit down here in San Antonio. I got to spend the whole day with them yesterday, so church was great today. So
It's good.
yeah, it was actually today's been good, man.
That's good.
Today's been
Glad to hear.
actually really good.
I am so glad that makes me happy now. As far as my week is going, my week is being a parent of two autistic children and working and trying to make everybody happy and trying to make sure the wife's okay. And you know, it gets a little stressful, but we make it pop and crack. So you know what I forgot to do, y'all? Roll my intro. Hold tight. And welcome back. We are Heavy One Cosmonaut, Mr. Dwayne building on the behest of the absence of Mr. Ephraim Terrell. I'm glad we're here. Dwayne, what's going on with your brand?
Oh man, it's Sunday. I got the
Yeah.
kids.
May the force be with you, sir. I got my son too. He's sleeping right now, so that's good. I can record this while he's sleeping. So I want to ask
You
you.
taking shots early.
Hey, Ashley, what's going on, boys and
the
men?
blue
Funny,
drink.
yes,
It's just the
Oh,
blue
funny.
drink.
yeah. Blue drink. Okay, talk about that the other day
Raspberry
on
lemonade, cool
the
beer.
brothers. So, Dwayne, how was your week, man? We're gonna jump right into it. How was your week?
Not bad. Ups, downs, the norm, but life is good.
I like the way you did that, man. I like the way you did that. All right, so we're gonna jump right into it. There's a few things that we do here, and this section is called "Take Several Seats." I'm gonna bring Denzel on to the screen here because I love Denzel. So this is the section of the podcast where we talk about people or things in our life that if people need to have a seat, just go ahead and sit on down. All right,
Right.
so Edic. I'm gonna
Yes.
start with you because you have the most entertaining take several seats. So
Yo,
I think take several seats. Who is it?
I'm gonna need people to take several seats.
Thank you, Ashley.
I need them to take several seats and read because apparently people don't read. And here's why.
Let's go, Jeffrey.
So I'm selling a piece of equipment on Facebook. First time doing it.
Mhm.
And I made sure that I list everything, how much it costs, what it is, what it do,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
So the first person that hit me up said, hey, you still got it. That's first red flag right there, because if I didn't have it, I will mark it as sold.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
I said, yeah. He was like, oh, okay. Well, trade, you want to do a trade? I'm like, here we go.
First of all, bro, you can't read.
It's like $100. So I'm selling it for $100. You see what I'm saying? And its
Right.
biggest day, I put no trades, no low balling.
In the ad.
I said, he was like, trade? You want to trade something? I said, no. How about go back to the description and read the bottom line and then come back?
Right.
Oh, okay. Well, I got, this, that. I said, I don't need any more equipment, dude.
Right. I got enough of that.
I got enough of it. You see what I'm saying? I got so much stuff in here right now, I can pretty much sell it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So he come back and was like, are you sure? You don't want no, it's nothing I can, no, man, you got that $100? So that was the first person. Second person, he was like, 7:00 this morning. I'm not a morning person.
Absolutely.
Yo hit me up talking about, yo, I got $70. He don't talk like this because this is all text. Yo, I got $70 right now, yo.
Right.
I was like, it's 100. How you gonna $30 off? Read
The
people.
audacity, she says. I love
Didn't
that.
read that description.
I'm trying to tell you,
Thank you.
read better. Y'all, if you can't read, take a seat and learn how.
Like
Kev?
Murgy had a little lamb.
Look, and stop thinking people always need money because they selling stuff.
Right.
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 That's serious, bro. All right, Ashley. Kevin, who'd you take several seats, brother?
Several seats. I'm gonna need the company of Six Flags to get they junk together.
The whole company?
The whole company. So what happened? I had the pleasure of spending the time with my sister and my goddaughter yesterday. It was a blessing. With her brother too. And we had a great time just being around each other. But from beginning, Six Flags makes you sign up when you buy your tickets or you do anything. You have to make registration. I mean, you have to what is it? What's the word I'm looking for? You have to.
I don't know.
Yeah, you have to go and
RSVP?
put in the time that yes, there you go, for a specific time that you want to go. I appreciate you, sir.
Dwayne.
So I'm so hot right now is because I can't even get the word out. But they make you go, and it doesn't make sense because at the same time the park is still crowded. I was shocked because it was of the way that the weather was here yesterday. It was gloomy, very humid, and it started to drizzle. Pretty much rain too. But it was very packed, and it doesn't even get this packed during the summer. We're season holders, pass holders, so it got really packed, and it just felt so uncomfortable. We got on maybe 3 rides. It was terrible. gonna tell y'all this though. The Joker really made me. Yeah, it made me rethink life all over again. It's a new ride. It made me rethink it made me rethink my whole life. Like
frazzled.
Absolutely. Yeah.
when I was I'm upside down looking at the ground, and I'm like, "This is how it's going to end, people. This is really how it's going to end."
Lord, I'm gonna die.
Somebody call a paramedic. It's all the way over. D Wayne.
I'm it's election season, right? And I would like to thank the mudslinging campaign of the Democrats in Georgia to give me my take several seats to the Republican Party. And anybody who know me knows that I'm a conservative. So,
yeah,
look, the whole Republican Party, thanks to Will Perdue, senator from the great state of Georgia, who at the beginning, and now I'm paraphrasing the infomercial that I saw. But Will Perdue, you got a secret meeting with Congress and Senate on COVID. And you know what you did instead of warning the people of Georgia? You sold all of your casino shares and invested in the COVID-19 vaccine market. 3 weeks before you ever said anything to the people of Georgia.
Wow.
Republican Party right now, several seats.
I'm gonna need for you to go down to the Georgia Dome and take all those seats down there. All right.
Come to M&T Bank Stadium at that.
and take the whole thing. All right. So if you're in here, we want to thank you for coming through on Periscope, YouTube, Facebook, on Charm City Direct TV, and my personal page. Thank you guys for coming through. If you are here, make sure that you share this out. I know this is an audio recording for my folks that are listening on Alexa right now. It's okay. This is a Facebook Live. Don't stress. Okay. Few things. First, at the very bottom of your screen, we have some information down there for you if you want to subscribe to the podcast, podpage.com, the Knucklehead Chronicles podcast, or if you want to follow, go to Linktree, Knucklehead Chronicles podcast as well. Also, one more announcement that I got coming up that I'm very proud to announce, right, is that we here at the Knucklehead Chronicles podcast have a merch store. So if you go down over to teespring.com/stores, KCP20, you can get everything from leggings to a face mask with the Knucklehead Chronicles on it. So if you really support us, I know we're new, but if you want to support us, you can go and get some of that. I gotta get me a hoodie and all that.
I want to see my A1 since day one's on there. I need to see them. I need to see that merch.
I'm telling you, come through, support your boy.
Right.
It's got our handsome faces on it, or except for mine. Mine has Black Lives Matter on it, but it's still I'm there. But
get your man some boxes.
Yeah.
Get your man some boxes. Get your lady one of those onesies with your face on it. Just let her know you think about it.
Hey, that will work.
I know.
Hip a brother out. All right. So of course you guys know that me and Dwayne are part of a wonderful group that broadcasts Monday through Friday on Facebook at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time called the Brothers of Legacy. Now, as the Brothers of Legacy, we do a lot of things before pre-COVID. Was in the schools and have programs for the schools for the kids to learn, and for the young men to learn how to shave and do an application and all that. So that particular program takes a little bit of support sometimes. Okay, but we have a solution for you. Hang tight.
Listen, I want to thank you for being a part of the Brothers of Legacy. Those brothers that are connecting and commenting during our broadcast, sharing and joining our groups, as well as those that are supporters, the ladies that have our back and constantly cheering us forward. Listen, we are in the process of expanding into local areas, right? We are in the process of expanding our reach and encouraging more men to volunteer, to be a part of their community, and to not only stand out, but to stand up. So today, I want to encourage you to do a one-time seed or a monthly seed into the Brothers of Legacy. Now, what will that do? That will cover administrative costs as well as reach other brothers and meet people at their need. So to do so, we need that financial support, as well as if you are a brother or if you know someone that would like to be a part of this movement, please connect them with us. Listen, we are ever expanding, we are ever growing, we are doing great works, we are changing the narrative. We are changing the narrative. So this is your opportunity to be a part of that legacy. Our legacy is about the building blocks we start today. Our legacy is about the building blocks we start today. So this is an opportunity for you to seed into Brothers of Legacy, make a difference. Your difference starts now, and it'll affect now going into tomorrow. So we appreciate you. We thank you, and I thank you for all the supporters that's already given, and for those that desire to give, this is your opportunity, and I'm thanking you in advance. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much for your support, and I'll see you later. Take care.
All right, and welcome back. So if you are in here and you are a fella or a female, doesn't really make a difference. We're looking for support. Yeah, go to, if you want to support financially, you can go to $2 BOL2019 and do that through Cash App. And yes, Ashley, I do have leggings. So go ahead on and go and get in order you some. Ashley Collins, who's our resident auntie, wears leggings in all of her videos. And we love her so much and we support her.
Hey, Ashley.
Go Ravens. So I'm thinking that you switching up on y'all. All right. So we're going to get into the meat of the podcast and while people are here watching on today. So the topic of today is boys to men. Now, if you're looking for one yay in them, they ain't here. We ain't talking about them. We talking about us today. Boys to men, because of course you know that you have to know the difference between a man and a boy. Same gender, different breed. All right, so we're going to get into it. That's going to be our topic for today. So I do have a couple of questions that I do want to ask the panel, because and maybe it's just me, but there are a lot of young men who are totally missing the mark because we are afraid to acknowledge the fact that we have an issue. Now, me as a man, I'm 45 years old, man. I'm not afraid to tell my age. I've been through a lot of crap in my life. And so for every issue that I've ever had, there's a root. There was a root to every issue. Okay, Richard, we get it. Seahawks. Yeah, we get it. Love you, man. Comment on what we're talking about, not the Seahawks. Okay, thank you, sir. I appreciate you. All right, so stay on topic. Stay on topic, player. Stay on topic.
Fall that.
So, real quick, my first question that I want to ask the panel. Okay, when because I think everybody's ride is different. Everybody's process is different, right? For you, gentlemen, individually, what was your first step in your process in becoming a man? Now, after you realize that you have made so many mistakes and did all that, what was your first step? What did you wake up one morning and say, you know what, the first thing I got to do to get myself together is this? What was it? Who wants to go first?
Well, mine was easy. It wasn't that. The first thought that came to my head is, I'm getting too old for this. I'm going to be 50, 60, still in this same predicament, no changes. My life, a bunch of wish I had-ofs, as opposed to stop, change the direction, change the attitude. We've all heard this cliche, doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result is the very definition of insanity. That's where I was when I got to that point, like some things got to change, because I was like, another marriage, same result. So many different things, small things, but the overarching things was I had to change my behavior.
Mm-hmm. Your behavior, Kev.
Well, for me, let's take y'all to a quick personal. I'm gonna get a little personal on my side.
Yeah, let's go. Let's do it.
And first thing you got to do is acknowledge. A lot of the times, us men, yes, some men are vulnerable. Some men are actually capable of actually learning as you go.
Mm-hmm.
Some people got to go through the process first.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people that got to go through the process. And I learn from hard-headed mistakes. I had people in my corner, such as my brother in Mississippi, who would always tell me, "Hey, this is wrong. This is bad." He'd give it to me straight out. And a lot of the time I didn't want to hear it. Well, I got married at an early age. She was my high school sweetheart, and may she rest in peace. That's my kid's mother. And we made boneheaded mistakes. We had kids at an early age.
Yeah.
And I love my kids dearly, by the way. And I thought my process was having a kid. I'm 19. All right, I'm becoming a man. That's not how that works. Then shortly after, have my daughter. I'm becoming more of a man. This is not how this works. Just because you're bringing in a paycheck, you're taking care of home like you're supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make you a man. What made me man up, actually, being by myself. I was the type that was, I hated being alone. Right. And I actually had, when I went to the oil field, well, my single butt manned up, and that job actually made me man up a lot. But I had a lot of time to self-persevere and just do a lot of thinking. There's a lot of mental. I sat in between four walls one night. I didn't get any sleep that day. I worked 17 hours, got straight off, and had to be back in another, in 5 hours. So I literally just sat at home with the TV off, and I did a lot of meditating and a lot of self-thinking. I was like, you know what? Just like Dwayne, this ain't going like I wanted to.
Right.
I need to find happiness, and being happy wasn't just making a paycheck and working hard, and it was everything. Everything needs to make sense, and if it does not make sense, you are not going to make it in this lifetime. Period. You're going to go through depression. You're going to go through a lot of bad things, but it's also what you make of it too. Mm-hmm. So if you turn that positive into a negative and keep that positive focus, hey, you can make something of yourself, young man.
Absolutely. E. Digger, what was your first step?
My first step was to acknowledge that I needed to stop depending on people and rely on self. Right. And I was heavy in church. I'm talking like if I was at home, I was at church.
Right.
Because I believe that was my safe haven.
Yeah.
And I was always depending on the church members to bail me out. And I'm talking, I'm 20, 21, 22 at this time.
Right.
And the wake up call was I was in a rut. I was stuck. It was something involving money. I can't recall, but of course, I reached out to the church members like, hey, I need X amount of dollars to get me out of it. And that was the wake up call because everybody was like, in their own kind way, they didn't come out and say no.
Right.
But they said, I don't know, E. We ain't got it. As opposed to, we'll come over here or let me talk to you or meet me here and I give it to you. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that was like a wake up call for me to say, I'm growing up. I need to do this on my own. So to answer your question, it was like I had to draw back. I had to figure this out on my own now. Right. No, nobody is going to help me but me.
Exactly. Exactly. You know, I'm listening to you guys, and everybody has, like I said, the process is different. Like I was talking to, I'm not sure who I talked to the other day. I think it was like either Edig or somebody else, and I said,
Mhm.
you know, we're all trying to get to grandma's house, right?
Right.
Grandma's house is that level of manship, right? We are trying to get to grandma's house, but we all have different paths to get there. And so when I'm listening to you guys' story, I can take a piece of me out of everybody that just said their piece. Now with E Digger, I would say this is that when I was doing things in church, I was a church guy too. I'm a PK, you know, I'm a preacher's kid, and so as I got older and I got married for the first time, what I would do, I would take the people of the church to my advantage
Mm,
because they helped me, they enabled me to be a boy
mm,
because they would always bail me out. Like you said, like they would always bail me out. They were like,
right.
no, I'm married. I'm married.
Right.
But you know, I didn't know how to pay the bills. And then when my rent got short or whatever, I just go to the church. And they would enable me to bail me out. Then the church said one day, my pastor was like, Pastor John Kirkland, he said to me, yeah, no. I mean, I think that was the most ghetto's answer I ever got from my pastor. Yeah, no, don't come back up in here asking for any more money. You are a man
Right.
who works.
Right.
The man who, you know, the Bible says the man who don't work don't eat. And so you're sitting up in here, you got a family, you know, a wife and two kids,
Hmm.
three kids, actually, three
Hmm.
kids. And you can't, no, stop it. And so at that point, I had to say, okay, something ain't right. Because I was so bad with money. I was robbing Peter to pay Paul
Hmm.
because I know how to manage my money. And so that was the first step for me. But I had other steps. Before that, I had like pre-steps. You know, you get the first step, you got 1A, 1B, 1C. That was me. Because I had so many different steps. It was kind of crazy.
Pre-snap
So
reads.
pre-snap reads, exactly. So
Hey.
those of you in the comments, comment. If you have any questions for us, we'll answer them for real. So our second question is going into it. For you guys, what was the worst part of the process for you? What was the worst part? And how did you overcome that? What's go
Ooh,
first?
man.
It's a difficult question because I don't know if I had a worse part. The worst part was the heartbreak of knowing you failed.
Hmm.
And and for me, my failure was not Dwayne only. It was Dwayne, the heartbreak with the ex, and then the reality of your children growing up in a home outside of mama and daddy.
Yeah,
And then having that happen twice.
Hmm.
yeah,
Thinking the second time around, I got this. And then experiencing it all over again. So for me, other than a heartbreak, I think the hard part was for me finding out and realizing that it really is a process. Because just by listening to the first response to everybody who's answered, it just hit me. It was like each one of us
Yeah.
are grown men. Each one of us handle business in our own way, shape, and form. Each one of us has some success story somewhere in the line and still have some things that we struggle with, but we're still moving and let's give back to the generation coming behind us.
Right.
It took me, I ain't gonna say it took me to just now, but right now I just realized that sometimes we may beat each other up for something that's a part of the process and you're gonna have to go through it. Now I think that who's ever watching this is not an excuse for you to cast responsibility, but it's know that it's a process and it gets easier, but it gets tougher at the same time because you still, once you perfect one level, you got to get to the next, and then you're gonna deal with the same thing at each phase.
absolutely. Kev,
Once again, let's get a little personal again. My
course.
life. I'm gonna bring y'all into a little history of me today. And I hope, like Dwayne said, that somebody in this who views this or hears this um, can grab this and actually form their own formulation on their own process. A lot of people are different. A lot of people take this in differently. For me, on this question, my worst part of this was I had a plan. I had a plan when I had my kids. My plan was to work while my ex, goes to school and do everything, but that plan failed. Like Dwayne said, there's a process, and we don't tend to acknowledge that failure. And a lot of us hate failure, but don't do anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
I was that person. I didn't do anything about the failure. I let it continue to grow like a fungus, and it just got bad on me. So it turned out our relationship didn't work out. I ended up in a bad spot in my life. At one point, it was so bad to the point where I wasn't managing money. I had a job, had a car, had everything, but I actually didn't even have a place to stay. I hit rock bottom when I didn't have a place to stay.
Yeah.
And that's a personal thing for me. Not many people know that. Not many people. I don't put my personal business out on Facebook, but I want these young men to actually feel me on this. When I say failure, if you hate losing, you're really going to hate failure when you hit that rock bottom.
Right.
You really, it's going to touch your soul, and it depends on you, how you turn it.
Right.
And my thought process of, oh boy, I'm lost. I at one point I even burned bridges. I burned bridges. I burned bridges with my family. Me and my brother, we had it out. We had a fist fight. Me and my mom weren't on good terms. It turned a lot of things, but I think at one point, and this is one process how I overcame that. When my dad passed away in 2008, all right, it took a toll on me, and this is part of the reason why I hit rock bottom, because I wasn't managing. I never lost anybody that close, and my dad wasn't really there for me in my life, but he was a great grandfather, which changed my perception of him. I gave him, that was a chance that God put him in my kid's life for that reason. So when he passed, I ended up having I had a lot of aggression. I had a lot of anger, a lot of sadness. And it played a toll in my life where I was holding a lot of grudges on people who did me wrong. So, and I noticed other people doing the same thing that was near and dear to me. I went to Mississippi. I visited my dad's grave. 2 years, this was back in 2011. I visited my dad's grave. Those people who did me wrong, I let it go. And for some reason, I laid down in my dad's grave. I put my hat on his tombstone and said, "Dad, I need to talk. I need to have a talk with you.
Wow.
You and God, let's have a talk." And I was never that spiritual guy back then. I wasn't. I knew God. I know about God. I love him. I knew he was in my life, but I never talked to him. So my deal is when I talk and I let it all out, I let it all hang out right there right next to my dad. And I let go of all my aggression, sadness, anger, bitterness, because that's a key one. There's a lot of bitterness I had to people that did me wrong. And even if you owed me money, I didn't even care anymore. I didn't care. If you did me wrong, if I was in a relationship and you cheated on me, I didn't care.
Right.
I had to let it all go. I wasn't going to sit here and just become this bitter young guy looking like a 80-year-old man with just looking sad. Right. What's that character's name off of the Boondocks? The bitter old guy. I didn't want to be him. Yes, I did not want to be him, man. It was just I had to look at myself, and just one day I just felt so great. The next morning, I kid you not, I was so much weight lifted off my shoulders. It's cliche to say it, but it literally worked. And still to this day, I live by that code. Don't hang on to any of that.
Right.
You get gray hairs and wrinkles.
Right.
I'm telling you, it makes for great sleep when you got peace. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Peace.
Right.
Hey,
Exactly.
nigga, what was the worst part of your process, bro?
So, like Kev, I'm gonna take you back a little bit. My dad passed away when I was 13. First time I ever experienced death. Mom passed away later at 18. And I felt alone, although I had brothers, and I have 2 brothers living. One passed away, and a sister. And a lot of my conversation is about church. That my friends was like, if you can't catch E at home, go to the church. And how God set this up was my house, church. Like I can literally scratch my butt, roll out of bed, go right to church.
Yep.
And I stayed there. Like I said, it was a safe haven.
Mm-hmm.
I began to, learn about this church, worked at the church. Everything was church. Until I began to I wanted to do more.
Mm-hmm.
And because of my mom passing, my pastor took me in.
Mm-hmm.
He took me into his home. It was nothing but God. And where I was staying at, either the lady's daughter or the lady was going to get killed. Just going to put it out there like that.
Yeah.
They got on my everlast good loving nerve. And
Good for you though.
yes, and I had to leave. So my pastor called me. It was like, hey, what you doing tomorrow? I'm going out of town. I need you to watch my kids. So my brain is like, I'm going to live with my pastor.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't even had to think about it really. I'm going to live with him. So that's what happened. I was living with my pastor. And by that, you see what I'm saying? Church became more church. You see what I'm saying? Like 7 days a week church. I didn't mind. But then it came to a point where, like I said, I wanted to do much more. I wanted to have more responsibility, like being on a committee, being a part of, the organizations in the church, because my church denomination is Presbyterian. So the churches are ran by the Presbytery of the USA, the United States. And I thought at that time, this is big. You see what I'm saying? I want to be a part of that. But they kept looking at me as little Ernest, and I wanted to come out of that. So I began to be mad at the church, like because they didn't give me responsibilities, and because of that, I left.
Yeah.
But by me leaving, I just cut a lifeline.
Yeah.
And all of the resources that I had, all of the safety that I had is now gone, because now I left.
Yeah.
It's no more. I cut ties. Yeah. So I start blaming them for everything, like getting mad with them for everything. You see what I'm saying? And somebody told me, like later on, they said, if you would have stayed in church, you wouldn't be going through this. You see what I'm saying? So that right there it's like a umbilical cord. I was cut. I was cut from that umbilical cord. Now I'm on my own.
Yeah.
Right. For
a minute, I was mad. I was angry.
Yeah.
But then I had to realize, you're a man. This is the process. This is the evolution. You can't stay there much longer.
Right.
You have to experience this on your own. You can't ask for help from them no more.
Right.
So I would say that was like the worst type of the process right there for me.
Yeah. So, I'm listening to your story, Ian, and your story sounds a lot like Anakin Skywalker.
Okay.
If you watch Star Wars, now if you guys are Star Wars fans, you probably know what I'm talking about. Anakin was a good kid, and he all that, and he got mad at the Jedi folks and was like, you know what, forget y'all, I'm finna be Darth Vader, and that we got mad. So that's kind of an interesting kind of analogy.
But see, and that's another thing. If I can add this, I never been locked up,
Right.
never did drugs.
Right.
So I'm kind of squeaky clean.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? When people look at me then to now, this is a little squeaky clean. You see what I'm saying? Because I always had this concept in my mind, and it played in my back of my mind. I said, if I do this, if I go to jail, it's not good.
Right.
Because I know they're gonna rape me in jail. I don't want that.
Why they
You know what I'm saying?
gotta
No, nah.
I know they're gonna get me in jail.
Okay. What was my guy on Boondocks? What was the lawyer's name?
Tom.
Tom.
Right.
Yeah, that's you. All right. So the worst part of the process for
I
me,
like shit.
And I won't
won't
shit.
yeah,
We can do this the easy way or the hard way.
you too. All right. The worst part of the process for me though was once I realized that I had to become a man. I could not be the same Terry that I was. The one thing that I hated that I knew I had to do was to go back and ask for forgiveness from the people that I hurt, for the people that I just left. We're gonna start with my children. My oldest daughter. I had my first daughter when I was 16 years old. Wow. Okay, 16. My baby is 28 now. She's 16 years old, and she was the first relationship that I had to repair. That darn fly. Okay. I'm pulling the Mike Pence on y'all.
All right,
I was about to say.
You found out where
But
you
I
lived
had
at.
to go. But I'm telling you, I had to go back and I had to apologize to my ex.
I think they're
I had
upset
to
about that comment I made.
I had to apologize to my kids. And let me tell you something, fellas, that are watching this, is that there's a lot of things that you cannot take back as an absent father. There's certain you can kind of ask for forgiveness for not being there, but certain things you just can't take back. So you're at a place to where we have to say, okay, let me catch this in the cut before I get too far. Because some children, like my daughter had a really tough time because I wasn't there. My daughter went through depression. My daughter was suicidal at one point. I mean, she had a lot of things going on. And so she had so much stuff going on. And because her mother and her mother, her grandmother, her auntie, they would call me, blame me, because all you had to do was be there, Terry. Why weren't you there? Mm-hmm. I said, well, because I was 16 years old. I didn't know anything about being a dad. And I didn't know nothing about getting a job. My first job was a dishwasher, trying to get my baby some baby bottles and all the good stuff. I was trying, but I didn't know.
I felt that.
And because I didn't know, it was easier for me to walk away from it than it was to be there and stand strong. But because of that, my daughter went through years of torment because I wasn't there. I wasn't the one that took her out on dates and held the door open for her and showed her that she was the queen that she was. I wasn't the one that said, honey, I'm Pat here, right? I don't want you to take some young dude that's like the first guy that says, what's up, shawty? And that'd be the end all. I fell short in so many arenas it wasn't even funny. But I had to go back and apologize to her. Let me tell you something. My daughter at the age of 14 wrote me a 4-page letter, not a Leah song, a 4-page letter. Wow. And she wrote out in full detail of how she felt. And there's nothing in this world worse than to read how much your kid hates you. Let that sizzle in your spirit just for a second. There's nothing in this world worse than to read or hear how much your kid hates you, all because you didn't stand in your spot. You didn't stand in your square. You didn't stand 10 toes down. And your babies need you. That's the problem with that's the problem with the world right now. Mm-hmm. There are so many boys trying to be men, have no idea how to do it, but too prideful to go to somebody else and ask for help. Let me go to the next. Let me go to the last question because I'll start preaching here in a second. No,
I was feeling it though.
Look, I was like, that's. I know you got another question, but I kind of got to. Everything you said is absolutely true, and you and me have had this conversation private, and I've had this conversation on Periscope, Facebook, Instagram. And one thing I want to add, we can't. Hey, brothers, you can't change the past. So don't let the pain, the guilt, the hurt, the anguish. I wish I was there for this. I didn't do that. She pregnant because of this, or if I would have been there, it wouldn't have been like this. You can't change the past.
Right.
What you do is you find the issues in you and you fix them so you don't repeat the past.
That's right. That's absolutely right. Because you have to understand this, and if disagree with me, tell me if I'm wrong, fellas. But with every single issue, problem, whatever it is, there's a root to it. Mm-hmm. You didn't wake up. You didn't wake up one morning pissed off. You didn't wake up one morning banging on breakfast. You was bad about something before you went to sleep, right? So we have to find the root of the issues. It's not like Dwayne just said to his point. It's not about your past, because I heard someone say a long time ago that it's never the falling down in life that makes you who you are. It's the getting up.
Amen to that.
So it's not about where you've been. It's okay. It's okay to be hurt. It's okay, because I had daddy issues. I know my 45 years old. I still know who my dad is. But I'm okay with that. But it took me some years to get over that. You have to get to a place where it has to be okay. It's okay, but what you cannot do, fellas, is stay there. Mm-hmm. You cannot wallow in the fact that your daddy left you. You can't wallow in that. Now, what you have to do is learn that I don't want to be him.
Exactly. And here, let me get in on that, Terry. That's exactly what I did. All right. I thought I was doing it right. I was halfway doing it right. Mm-hmm. So my first child, like I told you before, I got a little personal. I told you my dad was not there. He was a really good grandfather, though. I kid you not. This man lived in Mississippi, would come to Texas to visit his grandkids. He always told me, Kevin, I want a grandson. I gave him a grandson. Right. I want a granddaughter next. Hey, you got your wish. Mm-hmm. And for 3 years of their life, he was there. And wasn't there financially. I didn't need him there financially. I needed him there mentally and physically. And he did that. All right. But my goal in life, when my son was born, my son Dion, I put him on my Facebook. Y'all will see him on my Facebook if y'all see.
Just like
he looks exactly. It's my twin. My daughter looks more like me than him. That's the crazy part. And my goal in life, when I held him in my arms for the first time, I made a promise.
Right.
And I wish it was recorded, because I can literally live up to it and say, hey, I don't want to be what my dad was to me. I want to be there for every single detail. I thought I was doing it right when me and his mother got married.
Right. Right.
And of course it didn't work out, but I thought I was doing it right.
Right.
You can't go on with the thought process. Now, those men that grew, young men, if you grew up without a father, you already have a goal in life. Mm-hmm. You already have a goal in life. You already know how tough it is without growing up without a father. Right. Don't repeat that past, like Dwayne said. If you're going to repeat that same process, it's a never-ending cycle. That circle is going to stay in your history.
And it's vicious.
Change it.
Right.
Change it. Cut it off. There's a timeline in your life. And I'm a sports guy. If you're sports fans out there, you always hear the saying, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Exactly. Well, if you've messed up in your past, change that and finish off on a strong note. Be there for your kids. Be there for your nieces. Your nieces and nephews. Right. They need you as well. If you don't have kids, change that. And be something in the community. That's why I do what I do with my community. I'm a coach. I'm a baseball coach. Yeah. So I love kids. And one of the things that I have to, as a coach, some of these kids don't have a father. Mm-hmm. But they'll come up, coach this, coach that. And when we're in public, coach, I love it. Hey, what's going on, Matt? How's your grades?
Yep.
Mhm.
That's the first thing on my ask.
Yep.
And how's everything? You treating your teachers right? You doing good at home? You doing what you're supposed to do at home?
Mm-hmm.
Because if we're not doing that as men, we're not being that role model. We're not going to be that public figure for them. So I wouldn't, if I didn't do that, I couldn't call myself a coach.
Right.
Right.
You
I
want to know
couldn't do
something?
that.
You want to know something crazy, Kev? I can count on one hand how many times I spent with my father from the age of about 4, where I could remember, to the time I was 30. Well, say 28. One hand. And I was at the place where I said, and I know, Terry, I know what you think, but I was at the place where I said, if he died today, I wouldn't cry.
Wow.
And then he died. But like you, Kev, my dad, when I moved back to the Carolinas, he was amazing. He was there all the time. But here was the thing. I saw my dad one way my whole life, and I hated him, right? And I want this to sink in because it's a reality, and I see it in myself a little bit every now and then too. I was the only person who hated my daddy that I knew.
Wow.
When he died, everybody who saw me and was like, "Oh, I didn't know Rev was your dad." They told me a great story about, or when they had a hole in their roof and he fixed it for free, or the house almost burnt down and he came and he did this, or nobody had anything negative to say about my dad. But in my mind, my view, my perspective, he was worthless and I hated him.
Right.
And then it hit me as a grown up now, like, you know, we can make mistakes and we can miss things and we may get it wrong several times. Don't make you a bad person.
Right.
Because, yeah, relationships are difficult. That's why my advice to any young man, don't get into a relationship until you are absolutely ready. How do you know you're ready? Your bank account look right.
Right.
Your mind is right. You don't want to play.
Exactly.
And vice versa. Women, you have to be in that same boat, because when you get into relationships and it don't work out, thankfully my mom never said anything disrespectful about my dad, ever.
Yep.
Now, I knew she had some disrespectful things to say because I
never
overheard her talking to my aunts, but
Yeah.
she never said it to me, you know?
Right. Right.
But that's not the case with brothers out here. Look, you make a mistake and you do the wrong thing, yeah, you got to pay for that. But now, in today's society, everybody and their mama know how big of a hoe you are on social media because she done put you on Front Street and here you are. So to save yourself a lot of trauma, if I can go back to my younger me and give myself any advice whatsoever, be ready.
Yeah.
Prepare. Because if you don't, when you walk into those situations, it's over. It's too much for you. You ain't ready.
That's an excellent segue. That good, Choppy?
Yeah, I was going to say that line right there, Dwayne. My son is 18, but I had this when he was born. I had this thing. I have to be there, and when I say that, I had to be in the house with him.
Right.
And we was going through some things, and it came to the point where she said, and I'm talking about my son's mom. She said, this is it. I can't do this no more. And I was that feeling, you crushed. You got a son. You staying in the house, and I kept in my head like I have to be here. You see what I'm saying? I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be that father.
Yeah.
But then something said, you know what? If I leave, that don't mean that I can't still see my son or be with my son and take care of my son. So I left. And when I left, of course I was still coming back and forth, getting them and, spending time with them and things like that. Like I said, my dad, he passed away at 13. And when I was younger, it was my mom who tried to keep my father away from me.
Mm-hmm.
Like my father would come and I'm gonna take Ernest to the park or take him, see a movie or something. She was like, quick no. Like, damn, am I punished? Like, what did I do? Like, yeah, I want to go to the park. I want to run around. I want to see a nice movie, a cartoon movie.
Yeah.
But then somebody was in her ear, like, you need to let that boy see his father.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So a lot of things changed. Like, he would come on Fridays, he would come on Saturdays, come and get me, spend the whole day with me, but either 1 day, 2 days, or however he did it. But I spent time with him and I knew who he was. And that was enough for me. You see what I'm saying? And it's crazy because how my father spent time with me and interacted with me, I interact with my son when he was small. Like when we would go to we were so adamant at getting our hair cut. Like the barbershop, I absolutely love the barbershop. That is our thing.
Right.
And that's what my father did with me, as when I was little. So those are the things that, for the young fathers out there, that's the message that I would relate to them. Like, be in your child's life.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Money is not a way to take care of your child.
Right.
It is that time. It is that bond that you spend with your child.
Amen.
Let me put a bow on this real quick before we wind down and go. I had another question, but we don't have time for that. I want to Dwayne's point, and I'm gonna drive this home, put a pretty little bow on it, and then we're gonna get out of here. Dwayne said something that's very instrumental about today's society. Fellas, young men that are listening to this program, that are listening to this podcast, that's watching this on Facebook. I'm sure Miss Tull has shared this podcast, this live stream across her social media, and thank you for that, Miss Tull, if you're still watching. The women of today are not putting up with your nonsense. They're not doing it. They're not doing it. So it is imperative, young men, that we find a way to get ourselves together, because they don't want no excuses, because they have their own stuff to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
K. Michelle said it best: you can't raise no man. You can't.
Right.
So it's imperative. It's very, very important. Now, like Dwayne said too, if you're not ready for that, don't touch it.
Right.
No.
If you're not ready for that, don't touch it. I know it's shiny and pretty. You see it in the window, and you want it. But if you ain't ready for that Lamborghini, please stay away from it, because you're gonna do nothing but crash it. Right. And that's the problem with society as it is, and that there are so many burnt and crashed Lamborghinis because nobody has learned how to drive.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody has said and said, I have a problem with money. I have a problem because I'm still mad at my mama. I got a problem. I'm still mad at my dad. Whatever your issue is, work that thing out, because you can't take that into and then want a queen. Mm-hmm. First thing you holler, I want a queen. I want a queen so bad. No, you don't. You want that Ferragamo belt with them J's. What's more important to you, fellas? We got, and not coming down on the young men, because we've all been there. But what I'm telling you, young men, is this: you don't have to stay there. It's okay to be mad. Like I said earlier, it's okay to be mad. It's okay to be hurt. It's okay to do all of that. But we have to. It's imperative that we do it, because we're gonna bring kids into this land, into this world. Mm-hmm. And we broke. You can't teach driver's ed if you can't drive.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Amen.
It's totally impossible.
You get arrested when you're on the road without a license.
I'm trying to tell you. If you don't know, you better find out. Listen, we are destined to be kings. We're destined to be kings in this game.
Amen.
we have to get past everything else. And the only way we can, the best way to get past everything else is to face everything else.
Right. Right.
What you can't do is run. It doesn't work. You're not the road runner. You're not going to fight any demons with your back. The fight happens up front.
Right.
And we gotta say, you know what? Dad, like I can say this right here in this live stream podcast. That my dad, I don't know where you at, I don't know who you is, but I forgive you.
Mm.
I don't know where you at, I don't know who you is, but I love you.
Hey, one thing I want to say before we wrap it up, man. It's kind of like what E Digger, Dwayne, you said, you know, and I want to encourage young men.
Mhm.
Okay, I want to encourage you, young men. We don't have enough. Even if you don't have positive role models in your life, there's books. I want to encourage you on going to church. I want to encourage you on finding the positives out there. Now,
Right.
there's positives all around us. We just tend to slap it out of, like my pastor says, God gives us blessings. And those blessings just they're right there in front of us, but we're so blind, or we'll see it, and guess what we'll do? We'll slap God's hands away. We'll slap that blessing away because we're not appreciative.
Right. Right.
Be a little bit more appreciative. Enjoy the simple things, the small things in life. But pick up a book. Put some knowledge in your brain instead of being on your phone all the time,
Right.
watching TV. Enjoy your family. If you have a family, you got kids, enjoy them, man. The small things. Take some interest in them. Whatever they have, take some interest in them. It's going to influence them, and it's going to impact them and yourself and those around you in such a positive manner. You don't know who's watching.
Right.
Not only God is watching, but there's other people around you watching, and some may be looking up to you. So if you're able to do that, we're gonna get somewhere, young man. We're gonna make something out of you.
We're gonna get there.
Just to piggyback on that real quick. First, you got to accept it, and I'm talking about the young men out there. When you feel that you need to be heard, when you feel that you need to sit down with someone who you look up to and say, man, you know, he's doing good. I want to talk to him. And then when that opportunity presents itself, don't back out.
Right.
Or don't say, oh, okay, I was just playing. I don't need to talk. I'm good. Accept it.
Yeah.
And let us. Now, I tell anybody, I'm no role model. You see what I'm saying? Whatever I do. I'm, you know, I have flaws, but for the most part, you know, I can offer some advice to someone.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? It's up to you to accept it.
Exactly.
It's up to you to listen. And I have a pet peeve that if I offer my advice to you and you still don't accept it, you see what I'm saying? I get upset.
Don't ask no more.
Especially if you come back and ask for more advice.
Right. If you don't heed the first time. Now, I understand, you know, some people learn different or you know, grasp information a little different. I understand that. But if you one of them knuckleheads that going to listen is still going to do your thing, and I already talked to you, I already offered you some advice, I already kind of swayed you into that direction, and you still want to swing into yours, and then you come back because you messed up, I can't help you no more. So the first rule of thumb is accept it. Be ready. Be ready. To listen and take heed to the knowledge.
And no excuses, man. No excuses on that either.
Right.
No,
Let me-
don't continue to make excuses behind
Right.
simple things.
Yeah.
Right.
So we can talk about this right here all day, and we can encourage all day. Let me do this. I'm gonna say my piece. I'm gonna let Dwayne get his closing remark. Dwayne, you're on mute, sir. I see your hands going, but you're on mute. All right. So, what I'm gonna say is there's a lot of these young men around here. They're the level of pride that's in them, it's amazing. And the first thing they'll say is that I'm cut from a different cloth. I'm different. First of all, my brother. First of all, you a napkin. That's like you come from a different cloth. No, you a napkin.
Charming.
You softy out here because you don't want to face what's going on.
Right.
So get out your feelings, get out your pride. Let's make this thing work. Listen, we have to change the narrative. They're already saying that we're not fathers to our children. They're already saying that we're deadbeats. They're already saying that every time we put a gun to our, we're targeted. You can't give them any more excuses.
Right.
You're being targeted. We are being targeted out here. And if you if you go ahead and act like an animal, guess what they're going to treat you like?
Animal.
Okay, Dwayne.
And it's crazy that you said animals because they put animals in cages.
Come on.
Right.
And the last 8 words I got is the freedom from your cage. Because we've all been put in cages, whether it's societal cages, whether it's the cages that our family has built for us, whether it's cages that female society, church, anything.
Come on,
regardless of what you have, past tense, done, please forgive yourself.
Come on now.
Forgive yourself.
Come on.
That's the key to unlock that cage that they've put us in.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
Keys are in your hands.
Let's not be that statistic, young man.
Yeah.
That statistic keeps growing. Let's get that out. Let's stop that clock.
Right.
I'm going to drop this off right here. We're going to go ahead and step out. So let me, before I say my last quote, I want to thank my co-hosts, E. Digger, Dwayne, and Kev the Great for being on today. Really appreciate you guys. Everybody who dropped a heart, who shared it. Thank you for that. YouTube Periscope. And
you took it back.
I took it back. Yahoo. What?
Yahoo.
It was a dope thing. It was a dope jingle though. But I'm going to leave this quote, and then I'm going to end today's broadcast. Like I said, thank you guys. In the words of David Gibson, and if you don't follow him, he is D1 Gibson on Periscope and Twitter. This is what he said. He said, "The worst prison to be in is the one you don't know that you're in." And with that being said, you guys have a great one. See you next week.